Hello, my dear friends, dear transformational inspired leaders in the making. I want us to talk a little bit about the application process in the midlife career transition programs. I had earlier indicated that certain documents are very important in this process. And because of what I have observed, what I've read from some people and so on, I just thought I could come back and make a few clarifications. So in this short video, we are going to talk about four things briefly. The introduction of yourself. When you go into the fellowship programs, whether it is at Harvard, it's at the Inspired Leadership Initiative at Notre Dame, whether it is the program at Stanford, the program at the University of Chicago, you start by introducing yourself. So what exactly does this introduction mean? We're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about the curriculum vitae. Very often again, when you finish the introduction, they ask you to attach your curriculum vitae, which I have tried to explain how it needs to be written and the importance of this curriculum vitae. Then somewhere you are now told to do what I call a statement of purpose. A statement of purpose or a personal statement, in which case, in most cases, you're going to answer a series of questions posed by the university. Some university gives limitation as to what you should write. They ask specific questions and give you word limits. Some will simply tell you that you put everything together, but it shouldn't exceed 2 pages, and so on. Now, the other part, which is now, I think, the third thing we're talking about, not the fourth. I've spoken about the letter, introducing yourself, the CV, the statement of purpose, and eventually there is this other now preparation for the admission interview and the interview proper, and then references, and eventually interviewing of the referees or the people that recommend you. All of this constitute, I would say, about 99% of what the admission committee, the admission panel, take their decision on. But the introduction, your CV, and the statement of purpose are primordial. And at this level, some preliminary decisions are being made. You know, just like when you go to court, by the time they put together your file and look at a couple of things, they start knowing whether in this case you will end up being convicted or not. I say it because this is part of what is going around these days. So having said this, let me start with the introduction. Why is it important for you to introduce yourself? Like in the University of Notre Dame's program, after you've completed the contact document, you completed talking about your name, your address, your email address, your telephone number, and then they say, in not more than 2 or 3 sentences, tell us a little bit about yourself. If you've never heard about what they call the elevator pitch, in which you've heard about it, but probably you've never known what it is. The elevator pitch thing comes from the fact that you meet somebody in an elevator, and both of you may not last inside that elevator for 1 minute. You just enter the elevator. Maybe he's coming out at another level, you'll be coming at another level, what you call a lift. And you want to say something memorable that this person may want to get back to you or may want to even ask for your business card. So within that short time, what do you say? So this introduction is not to say, my name is this, I was born here. All those things are already there. As I said sometime and joke, they are already there. They will be found in all your documents. So it is about saying something memorable, remarkable, and it is that thing that you say in those 2-3 sentences that tells the official who is talking with you to see whether they are going to take this conversation further. Simple. When you meet somebody, your first discussion with that person will determine whether you want to have further discussion with that person or not. It looks simple. So it's professional. And I've been guiding the people with whom I'm working on how to do this introduction. Please don't miss it, because there's also something we call first impressions. First impressions. What you say when you meet somebody for the first time tells a lot about you. So that one, I leave it there. Don't joke with those few sentences and just say, you say some lousy thing. From there, it starts ticking. Maybe 5 marks gone. Now, the curriculum vitae, people use it interchangeably. Curriculum vitae, resume. For your information, they are not the same. They are not the same thing. And since I'm not doing a lecture on this, I will not waste time on it. To be honest, it's really something I do a lecture on, because I train young people when I'm preparing them for their careers. What is the difference? It's true you may use a CV or the curriculum vitae to look for a job and so on. They are not the same thing. In this case, let me insist, in this case, the curriculum vitae is what we will be talking about. And without going into the etymology of the word, without going into the how did the word come about and so on, understand from Latin, curriculum is course and vitae is life. So the roughly translated is your life course. A curriculum vitae is your life course. Simple. So in the curriculum vitae, you want to give a little bit of narrative as to how it has been to this level. And very often we use it because it's a promise. Your CV is a promise, right? Oh yes. If they're saying that you should have put in 20 years of work, then your CV should be able to narrate that 20 years experience, education, volunteering, the various things that you've done, highlighting accomplishments. It's not just a narrative, some boring narrative. I say this because I've seen some people say something you might have taught for 30 years. But can you say something significant, highlight something in the course of your teaching that can make somebody say, yeah, this person has done this and this? Just like somebody says, I've worked for 30 years. Let me say this. You may actually have worked for 1 year multiplied times 30. So you don't really have any 30 years work experience. You have 1 year work experience times 30. If you leave school and you go to the classroom and you teach mathematics for 30 years without significantly doing anything different, then you have 1 year experience multiplied by 30. Yeah, I have a little bit of, for those people who have seen my CV looks a little bit, and somebody said it when I went to the Catholic University, that your CV looks checkered. So he's like disjointed. I looked at the person and I felt so sorry for that person, because if you've joined the government and you stay with the government for 30 years, and I am in Cameroon and I work for 6 different organizations of magnitude in Cameroon for the same 30 years. I don't know who has experience. I don't know who really you will say has varied experience that can be used in different ways. That's it. I leave that to you. So the whole thing about your curriculum vitae is to be able to detail out these things. And as I've said, there are standards for doing these things. So use the American standard, use the Harvard standard that I've shared. Don't do your own thing. I have spoken with some people, in as much as they try to do all things, they still struggle to do it their way. If I try 2-3 times and you want to do it your way, I will tell you to submit. And you take anything that you do has consequences. If I tell you this is the way to do it and you still struggle to do it the way you think, it's okay for you. At one moment, I just say, it's okay. Remember, I'm consulting, I'm mentoring, but I will never take the driver's seat. A coach is a coach. A coach leads the player to play. But if the player enters the field and decides to do whatever the player is doing, you allow that to the player. There's not much I can do. My intention is to see you succeed. But if you prove stubborn, because some people are really stubborn from childhood, they're stubborn, then I leave it your way. I am telling you what has accounted for success for me over and over and over again as I speak to you, not out of bravado. I have about 4 different admissions in the United States and Canada with scholarships. I do it, like I said, I wanted to discern, I wanted to understand these programs very well so that I can use my experiences to coach others. I don't need all of this. I just finished Notre Dame. It's one of the best. I may do another one just to gain another experience. So since I want to be this person in these programs, I want to be one of the mid-career life transformational coach. So if you don't, then the next one is the statement of purpose. Of course, the last thing I would say about CV is that you don't fake a CV, and be careful the things you say in your CV. When you finish your CV the way I have explained to you, you follow the format, then I will edit it so that the language, and when I edit it, you will still have a look at it. And you need to be conversant and be sure with the things that you say, because during the interviews, they will go back to your CV. Then the personal statement or statement of purpose. Of course, there are direct questions, a series of questions that you need to ask, you need to answer. These questions generally, again, they want to look at your life, how far you've come, the challenges you've met in life, some obstacles, how you have solved them, what have been your achievements, what have been your significant accomplishments, what do you think about life generally, how is this program you are coming into going to help you, what are you bringing into the program? Because remember, we are coming into a program, you're coming into a program with 20 years experience. So you're not just going to school like a new college girl or boy. So what are you bringing to the table? What is it that you are going to share with your cohort members? And when you eventually leave the program, who will you be? Who will you be? This is very different from what will you be doing? Yes. You see, very often when they ask person, who are you? We tend to use our titles. All along that I speak with you and I've been sharing, except you knew me before, you wouldn't know that I'm an accountant. Because that's the work I have done. But that is not who I am. I'm sure that there's a lot more in me than the titles that we carry. And that's why some people are insisting on putting titles on me, and I'm like, please don't bother about those things because they will go away. My name is Amos Fong. Yes. And then there are lots of things in my head that I want to do. Today, I was just trying to write, because I was doing an exercise of 101 or at least 100 things you will accomplish before you check out, what we call a bucket list. And guess what? I just said within the next 2 years, I want to meet President Obama. So meeting him, what does it make of me? Who am I? Who would you want to be when you are done with this program? Who would you want to be when you're done with it? What challenges do you think you will face coming into the program, and how will you surmount them? Then you need to think about who are your referees and your recommenders, the people who know you professionally, academically, and so on. Remember that these people will be contacted and interviewed. Again, my dear brothers and sisters, you don't fake it at this level. Most of the things that happen here, you don't fake them, because not out of pride, I was interviewed for one of the programs and given a fellowship, a funding that covered 65% of the program. I wrote a letter and thanked the authorities of that institution. Then I asked the director whether I could visit after I'm in the United States. She said, of course. I visited the university. I was given a red carpet treatment. We moved around. We had time together. And by the time I left, my scholarship has moved from that amount. I only got a letter the next day to 90% coverage. There is a lot that plays with interpersonal skills, your ability to communicate in person, speak the truth, give authentic information, and share with people your perspective in life, which are real. Let people know where you are going and what is it, what transformation you want to cause in life. These things I'm doing with you are just about 5% of what I want to do with the next 10 years of my life. So, on a serious note, helping others to transform and move to the next stage wasn't in my bucket list when I went for the program. So one of the things you must know is that you need to have an open mind. An open mind. That mind that is open to learning. I did not know this. I've always worked with youths. I'm doing a lot of work with youths. So each time you ask me, I say, I'm very concerned about Cameroonian youths. I want to do this. But I suddenly discovered that the whole issue is not about youths only. People go on retirement at 55, 60, and they have 10, 20 years. So what would they be doing with those years? That's why I started reflecting that maybe if other people have this opportunity, they'll. Just to let you know, as I mentioned, this is the last time I'm coming out to give general information on our site to everybody here. Subsequently, you need to get your engagement with me directly because there are new exciting opportunities. When I even started these programs, I didn't know that you have fully funded programs with stipend. Just imagine that you have a program that helps you or brings you to the United States. Your fee is paid for. Your accommodation is taken care of. Then at the end of the month, you have around $500 to $1,000, and in some cases, $2,000 stipend to support your living. How would that look like? Well, I hope this helps you. Be strong and stay committed to your dream. But please, above all, if you are very intentional about this journey, which is starting very soon, most of the programs are opening this September. Those programs that are starting in January, some in March, and some in the fall of 2024. If you are very committed, set a goal and let this be part and parcel of your agenda going forward. Moving from what you've done for so many years is not very easy. So you need to give it at least an hour every day working on it. Thank you very much and have a great day.